And we are live from the CSI Softball Complex as we had some late lineup changes that I needed to assist with down back behind home plate. This is Joe Foreman on the call alongside Nicholas Bavona. I am live from the press box at the baseball complex. Nick is behind home plate at softball. We both rejoin you for Game 2 of today's East Coast Conference doubleheader. It is a winner-take-all season finale, Nick, as the Dolphins and Saints vie for a spot in the ECC playoffs.
And a leadoff single starts this game off for the Saints, Joe. As we saw, I believe it was Shibish that got the single to start this game. So an early base runner for the Saints, the most dangerous base runner for sure on this lineup. But you mentioned it, Joe, win and in for these two teams. Second straight year for the Dolphins, and they are in this spot looking to make up for what happened last year. We know, of course, last season they had the same exact scenario. They unfortunately could not get the job done in Game 2. Can they rewrite history here today, get the winning Game 2, and make the playoffs for the first time in the Division II era?
That pitch hit in the air toward the left field line, foul territory and out of play. Quickly we'll get you the Saints lineup. Shibish, Adamo, Clark, Moreno, Beck, Jorgensen, Howes, Sawyer, and Arnaud. Nick, Sarah Parzic back in the circle for Game 2. We'll see her in the bottom of the first.
And, you know, you and I talked about it as that one missed for 2-2. We expected her to pitch at some point in this game, whether that be in relief. I don't know if we maybe expected her to start, but I'm not fully surprised that she is starting the second game.
And that ball's hit into left for another Saints base hit. Well, I'm looking at our live stats right now, and I'm just taking a look at the lineup changes. I may have to come fix those at some point after the game is over, but it will be Parzic in the circle as the Saints have the first two batters on. I am extra reliant on the live stats today as I really can't see the scoreboard.
Right.
But I have a good view of the field from out here, probably 150 feet behind the right field wall. As that's it on the ground to third. Warner goes to first. And after stepping on the bag, she is able to turn the double play.
And that's a heads-up play by Warner, Joe, because immediately as she got the ground ball, made her first intention go to third base, then made a good throw to first. The Dolphins, just like that, after two straight singles to start the inning, now have two outs.
Well, Nick, I have a gigantic tree obstructing my view of third base.
Oh,
Could
boy.
not tell if Warner got her foot on the bag, but she did. And that ball was hit to the right place at the right time for the Dolphins. And very quickly, Clark was retired on one pitch, hitting into the double play. It is now left to Gabby Moreno. And Moreno takes out of the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike.
And, Joe, if you remember what I mentioned at the last game, what the Dolphins did really good in that first game was their defense. Their defense was tremendous. Warner was a big play at third base for them a couple times and made a nice play to start this game as well.
That pitch taken for a called strike. Count now 1-2.
Now, I had some of the spectators here for us here, Joe, hoping that the baseball team will rejoin us for the second game. They played a huge factor in Game 1 as well.
A lot of them left as that swung on and missed for strike 3. So Marina Grenier bounces back from a pair of hits to open the inning. A double play grounder and a strikeout get her through the first. Dolphins come to bat with no score when we come back.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, about 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. Wanted to do a podcast, and everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen? You're not going to get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You could vouch for that.
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials, check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
We are back for the home first inning, where it has been brought to our attention that D'Youville did make a change following their original lineup card submission. They gave one lineup card to our statistician behind home plate and then pulled the switcheroo when the coaches exchanged lineup cards. So I don't know if I can count on the live stats, Nick, but is it Summer Clark in the circle?
Summer Clark is in the circle,
Okay.
yes.
All right, so right now in the live stats, we have two pitchers in the game. I'm not sure how Stephanie is able to score like that.
I'm not sure either. So Summer Clark is getting the start in the circle as well as being the designated player in this game.
Okay, so I'll have to come down there and take a look after the game's over, make sure the stats are all correct. But it is Clark in the circle. First batter she will face, Anissa Acosta, as the wind comes straight through into the window. It is cold up here,
man.
Nick.
I'm sure it is.
It is very chilly up here, but it beats suffering behind the plate with the inability to see or speak.
I'll make a comment about that in a second. When you came down here after that first game, you had mentioned to me the dirt that was pretty much where my sunglasses were. I had to look after you said that, and it was nothing but dirt on the inside of my sunglasses. I had to clean them off.
Yep. Pitch to Acosta. In for a called strike 3, and TJ certainly didn't think so.
Yeah, she thought she had ball 4 on that one, started making her way to first base, and had some words for the home plate umpire afterwards. But it's a good strikeout to start this game for Clark, and there's now one goal in the inning.
That will bring up Mariah Carcano.
We'll move in.
With this at bat, following pitch number 1, we'll get you the full Dolphins lineup. That pitch taken for a letter high strike, 0-1. Leading off was Acosta, followed by Carcano, Stalker, Balderas, Wanzer, Warner, Motley, Canoth, and Alyssa Acosta. Same 9 for the Dolphins as game 1 in the same lineup. And Carcano showed bunt, pulled it back, and took a strike.
If you look at the circles today, Joe, I know I missed that one right there, but for Clark this season, this will be her 16th appearance, only her 3rd start of the season. And we'll give you the rest of her numbers in just a moment after this next pitch.
And Carcano takes the 0-2 up and away, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
She's pitched 59 in a third of an inning this season, 72 hits, 47 runs, 38 of those earned, 15 walks, 36 strikeouts, ERA of 4.48, with opponents hitting 288 against her on the season.
The 1-2. And Carcano went fishing. It gets away, and she will take first base. Now, will you need help scoring that down there?
I hope not.
You might.
I haven't been asked anything yet.
Well, it's a strikeout swinging, and then I think you have to put another letter on top of that. I forget what that letter is, but if Stephanie needs help, tell her to Google the cheat sheet.
Now, if you see right now, Joe, there's a conversation happening between the umpires. The Saints right now are the challenge that they're making right now is that that Carcano made contact and fouled the ball off.
I don't see how you can change that call after the fact.
There's no turnover on the play, but I heard it from some of the Saints spectators that are in attendance here today, and obviously we know how their stance is about it, but that's what Saints as well. Shelly Horner was trying to make that case as well, but no avail. And Dolphins will have the first base runner here in this first inning.
And Stalker is hit right in the numbers. She will take first base. And the Dolphins have 2 on with 1 out. But, Nick, obviously the Dolphins know what it's like to see your season come to an end on your home turf. Last year, the Dolphins losing their season finale to miss out on the playoffs. What's tougher, your season ending at home or having a 6 to 8 hour bus trip back after being eliminated by a doubleheader sweep?
I think it's got to be the 6 to 8 hour bus trip back home because it's a long bus ride as it is, and then after having a chance to win, just one win to lose both games, and your season comes to an end, it would be a long bus ride for D'Youville. But so I think out of the two, it has to be that.
That ball hit to second, initially bobbled, but recovering and throwing out Eileen Balderas was Adamo. Both runners move up. The Dolphins now have 2 in scoring position with 2 outs here in the home
To
first.
think the Dolphins got these 2 runners in scoring position, they're still in search of that first hit of the inning. And we'll see if Olivia Wanzer can do the job and get the Dolphins for the second straight game an early 2-0 lead in the first inning.
Wanzer hoping for a big hit in this spot. And she looks at a pitch outside, ball 1. Long look in here from Clark. Carcano the runner at third, Stalker at second. Wanzer chased the pitch low. It's 1-1.
And going back to that also, that question you asked earlier, it's not going to be easy either for CSI if they were to win this game either, because as you mentioned, back-to-back years of this happening, it's got to play. It's got to be at the back of your mind thinking about that if you were to lose this game.
That pitch taken low for ball 2, and the Dolphins are going to graduate Anissa Acosta this year, Alexis Miramontes,
Mariah
Carcano. Those are key players you're losing as Wanzer grounds that one foul, but for Tracy Garofalo, those are her 4-year seniors.
Right.
And to see their careers end with heartbreak on the final day of the season
Back-to-back years, yeah.
for the second straight year won't be an easy pill to swallow. You're right. Count 2 balls and 2 strikes on Wanzer. And she drives one out towards shallow right field, but it hangs up there long enough for Beck to make the catch and retire the side. The Dolphins strand a pair in scoring position. We head to the second with no score.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials, live music, and the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dining order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Still working out some scoring issues during our break. That late lineup switcheroo is always such a nuisance as a statistician. It really is. At that point, don't give us a lineup card.
I know.
It's really not duping anyone except the statistician, because that lineup card has not yet been given to the opposing coach. And we have a name for that as well, the old switcheroo. We call it the TG Shuffle.
Yeah.
The TG Shuffle, because Tracy would do the same thing during her first couple of seasons. Thankfully, we haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, let's keep it that way.
You're right. As that one's topped foul. At the plate here, Laura Beck. Beck made the final putout in the home first inning. Count 3-2 here on Beck. And I won't have the live stats until this game gets rescored. And fouls that one straight back.
Beck, one of the, I believe, 6 seniors on this team. And you talked about that bus ride home. Obviously, would not like to end her career here today. Would like to extend that career and head into the playoffs next Thursday.
Another 3-2 hit on the ground, and the throw to first, not in time.
Yeah, a long throw for Balderas. Pretty much was sliding to make that play. And even if the throw got there on time, it was a good job by running down the baseline by Beck. And she's on with an infield single.
For the second straight inning, Dieuville has a leadoff base runner. They will send Annie Jorgensen to the plate.
Coming into the doubleheader today, Joe leads the team in RBIs with 26.
Over at first. Beck drawing some attention.
As you should. She's 6 for 7 on the season in stolen base attempts.
Do you take that chance early in a game, do or die?
You might. I don't think you do it in this at bat as they show bunt.
And that bunt is up the first baseline. Tough angle to throw
hit the
from,
batter.
and the ball gets away. And that one hurts if you're the Dolphins. You can see it developing, Nick. That is a tough angle to throw that softball. It ended up in right field. The runner, Beck, moves up to third, and that will go down as an infield single on the bunt attempt.
I believe that hit off of Jorgensen and went into right field. That's the reason that happened.
It sure did.
And what a bad break for the Dolphins once again, Joe. For the second straight inning, D'Uvil's got 2 base hits to start off. And now this time around, instead of it had first and second, nobody out, it's first and third, nobody out.
Dolphins infield playing in at the corners. Middle infielders talking it over right now. They look like they're going to play normal depth here. Corners are way in. And that pitch is taken low for ball 2. Shannon Howes now ahead 2-0.
And these are one of the early spots, Joe, where with a 2-0 count, I do see action going up for the Dolphins and their bullpen as there goes the runner.
And they induce the run down. The runner on third, moving a bit. The Dolphins throw back that way. And the ball got away just enough. And heading to second is the trail runner. And now there are 2 in scoring position for D'Youville.
Fast on the throw, yeah.
As Jorgensen moves up. And if you're the Dolphins, you almost executed perfectly there, and that's a play you are probably going to have to execute at least once or twice more.
Now, the question I'll ask you, Joe, and I'll make it after this next pitch.
You're asking if there should be an error on the throw?
Not that. Do you think she should have thrown the ball to third base?
Probably not.
Yeah,
Probably not.
I didn't think it was
I don't
wise.
think it was close enough. I don't think the play was close enough.
It wasn't. She was pretty much right at the bag.
Yeah, I don't think the play was close enough as that's fouled back.
Because now, because of that happening, as you mentioned, you allow the second runner now to move into scoring position. And now just 1 base hit right here will bring home 2 runs to get the Saints this early lead.
Count here is 3-2. Huge opportunity for Howes. She just needs to put the ball in play. And she takes low for ball 4.
And now a chance for Becca Sawyer with the bases loaded. Still nobody out. Of course, a ground ball in this spot, Joe. The Dolphins will go towards home plate to try to avoid that runner from scoring. But early in this one, we posed the question game 1. How dire would it be for CSI to maybe make a pitching change to try to avoid any further runs from happening?
Well, Nick, I told you, I thought that if you were going to use Kennedy Ruth in Game 2, you probably start her because it's much harder to sit down, get warm, and come back after an hour or 2 layoff. Given the fact that they didn't start her, I can't imagine they go to her for more than 3 outs, and the next pitcher in line would be Alexandra Frenza. So if we do see a pitching change, it would be Frenza. I actually have a clear view of the bullpen that you don't have.
Yes.
There is no action in the Dolphins bullpen.
There was a second ago, but they whoever it was stopped warming up, so I'm not sure who it was.
All right, so if there's any change there, I'll let you know. Meanwhile, the count 1-0 on Sawyer. And that pitch is taken at the knees for a called strike, 1-1.
Dolphins would love a ground ball right here in the infield that's playable. That way they can get the out at home, avoid that runner from third from scoring, and keep the game scoreless.
That pitch low, and if there's one thing you can't do here, it's walk the batter. You have to make the number 9 hitter swing the bat. You cannot turn this over to the top of the lineup. If you do turn it over, you have a hitter that is largely neutralized because Shibish has been looking to bunt.
Well, keep in mind, Joe, that's the miss of 3-1. After this, it is the number 9 hitter. This is the number 8 hitter in the order. That's Sawyer. So that's still.
Okay.
Yeah.
The revised lineup just kicked in.
Yes.
So it's the number 8 hitter.
In danger of walking in the first run now.
And that's it on the ground. Tough hop, and it gets into right field for a hit. That will bring home 1.
Not the second, though. Great throw from Stalker out in right field.
I was watching. I took for granted that run was about to score, but a tremendous throw from Stalker cuts down the second run. Behind the play at the plate, the runners moved up to second and third, but what a play by Stalker just to make it close at home. On top of that, she gets the out at the plate.
And you'll see it on the replay right here for our audience at home. That one was just a perfect throw from Stalker right to Canote's glove, and she made the easy tag. You can't ask any more if you're a catcher behind the plate. You want a strong throw from the outfield right on where you can make that easy tag, and that's exactly what happened in that spot.
That was a strike to the plate by Stalker, and all of a sudden now you have a chance to get the number 9 hitter here and then bring yourself to within 1 out of escaping what could have been major damage. The Dieuville lead is 1. Sophia Arnaud takes high. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And this is the out you want, Joe, of course, because with the 1-2 count, you're 1 strike away from the second out, and then after this, it's back to the top of the lineup.
We'll make that 1 and 2. I stand corrected as that's it out toward right. Foul ground. Stalker makes the catch. Barrels into the fence, gets the ball in quickly, but that will bring home the second run. And Nick, this question always comes up in that situation.
I was about to ask you the same thing, Joe.
Do you let that fall?
I don't know. I mean, you don't want a player to deliberately miss it and then you go up a hit right after. But at the same time, it did allow Dieuville to get the second run of the game. So there's a pro and con to it. I'm not sure what the right call is in that spot.
I think the right answer by the book is that it's way too early to think about that.
Yeah.
It's only the second inning. But, boy, with how tough of a play that was, barreling into the fence, you're not going to pull your glove away, but knowing the outcome of the play, Nick, it's easy to say, just let it fall.
But, but again, like I said, if you let that fall, then you risk the possibility of the at-bat extending, obviously, and then you risk the possibility of a base hit happening on a couple pitches or the next pitch after that.
I get it. It's fouled back.
And you know what? I think if you're the Dolphins, if you can escape this inning where you had the bases loaded and nobody out, if you can escape with just allowing the 2 runs, you'll certainly take that going into the next half inning.
No question about it. I think you'll absolutely take it if you can escape allowing just 2. That one slapped to the left side, but foul. Well, I mentioned it before as well when I thought the number 9 hitter was at the plate prior to the lineup and our live stats being revised, but Shibish is largely neutralized if the bases are loaded because it takes the bunt off the table.
Right.
She'd have to put one through the infield to get a run home in all likelihood. She hasn't looked to bunt here and won't with 2 strikes as she takes low. Now, if you're a Dolphins infielder and the ball comes your way here, you have to know whether or not you have a play at first, because if you don't, your best play might be to come home. And that's blooped shallow left and down for a hit in no woman's land. Shallow left field, the infield drawn in, and Shibish drops it right over the drawn-in infield.
And that's the unfortunate circumstance of having the infield in, Joe, because if you with that happening, a long run for Balderas, she almost basically ran into the second base umpire as well. And because of that happening, it allows another run to score. Shibish is on second base with a double, and it's now a 3-0 lead for the Saints.
That might be one of the softest doubles you'll ever see as that's fouled away.
You'll see it here on the replay. You see Balderas almost got where the second base umpire was. And you have to wonder, did that also play a factor to maybe her not getting to the ball?
That's a good question. Now, I had a really bad angle of the play out here in deep right field, about 400 feet away, but you could definitely see that off the bat, as that's fouled away again, it looked like Balderas would have a chance to get there. Now, you're our replay coordinator, and our audience can see the replays. I cannot. At least not when you run them. I can see them on a bit of a delay, probably 3 to 5 seconds. As that's hit sharply right to Balderas. Her throw to first in time. And that'll do it for the Saints in the second. However, Dieuville plates 3 runs. They now lead Staten Island 3-0.
The Kettle Black on Staten Island. a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends, live sports and watch parties, to Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Home second inning from the CSI softball complex. The Dolphins now in a 3-run hole. A winner-take-all season finale between the College of Staten Island and D'Youville University, as Olivia Warner swings and misses for strike one.
Dolphins, a tough inning in that last half inning, Joe. They gave up the 3 runs, base loaded, nobody out. But now it's all going to come down to the Dolphins' offense in this game. They're going to have to step up. Already in this one, 6 hits already for the Saints through 2 innings. And we talked about whatever team jumps out to an early lead, they got some confidence as this game goes on.
That one line foul out of play, and that's absolutely right, Nick. You get an early lead in a game like this and get the chance to play from ahead in the first couple of innings, that completely changes the way you can manage the rest of the way. It takes some of that weight off of your shoulders in a game like this. And for D'Youville, it's not just a lead, it's a lead of 3 runs. That pitch taken just off the inside corner. 1-2 now. Dolphins have been here before. They were here in Buffalo when they trailed late in the 7th, and Warner takes in the dirt, 2-2. We spoke about it earlier. If they don't come back in the 7th inning of that second game in the doubleheader at D'Youville, this game means nothing. So the Dolphins definitely capable. Long look in ahead of the 2-2. And Warner chops that one on the ground.
Tough play.
Really tough play.
That's a heads-up play by Sawyer.
Foul.
Sawyer did not touch it. That was a heads-up play by the Saints' third baseman.
Well, that's one that you have to make a decision on the fly and make that decision quickly.
Yep.
I think you can judge as a third baseman whether or not you're going to have a play at first and then decide, well, if I let it go, I don't lose anything. As Warner lines went into right center field for an extra base hit. The ball was knocked down, cut off nicely. I thought for sure that one was ticketed for the gap, but Beck got her glove on it and prevented the double.
Beck had it in front of her for a second. It hit off of her glove and almost got past her, but as you mentioned, did a good job of cutting it off. But after she almost got on with an infield single, it's now a single into right field, and Bridget Motley will come up to the plate.
We mentioned it during Game 1. Motley earlier in the week, though I guess technically now it would be last week, right, Nick? Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday.
So technically it was early last week that Motley hit her first career home run. Corner's moving in here. Do they think Motley could bunt?
I don't see how the Dolphins would do that in this
We
spot.
know she's not going to bunt, but could D'Youville really believe she's going to bunt?
They at least down the first base line they have.
Yeah, but they were in quite a bit when that first pitch was delivered.
Yeah.
Not as much now.
Especially with the bottom of the lineup coming up. They're
creeping in quite a bit with the pitch.
Yeah.
If Motley pulls one down the third base line with any velocity behind the contact, could be a tough play.
She's got an early hitters count here, 2-0.
It's now 3-0. And I can tell you, Nick, that there is stirring in the D'Youville bullpen. Parzic looks like she's getting warm, but the question on the other side now becomes how early would D'Youville pull the plug and go to their ace if available? As Motley takes a called strike, 3-1.
As we thought initially, we thought she was starting this game, and it makes a little bit more sense that she's not starting. But, yeah, you really have to ponder how long would it be? How much trouble would Clark get into before you have to say to yourself, all right, we need to make the pitching change because things could get dire.
I think if the Dolphins were able to turn over the lineup here, that would be the threshold where you pull the plug. If the Dolphins get back to the top of the order with a couple of runners on, I think that's where you make a change. If you're even willing to do so this early, because you may have a plan coming in. We are not turning to Parzic for more than X number of innings, whether that's 2, 3, 4, whatever it may be. So you have to see if that's a factor, as well as that's hit on the ground toward the middle and through for a base hit. Warner will stop at second, and Motley is on as the Dolphins have back-to-back hits to open up the home second.
And just like that, Joe, 2 singles. Now they bring the tying run to the plate. Motley's had a good week. We mentioned her first career home run. Technically last week if you want to count it as that. But nonetheless, it's first and second, still nobody out. And this is for the Dolphins, as you mentioned, with the bottom of the lineup still up. You're almost near the top of the lineup. You're making things very interesting for D'Youville and how they plan this one out.
Natalia Canoth, the batter. Here comes the pitch from Clark.
She shows bunt.
She does bunt, lays it down, throw goes to first in time. And the Dolphins move a pair into scoring position.
Successful sacrifice right there. Now Alyssa Acosta will have second and third, still one out. And after her, it's back to the top of the lineup.
Well, I get the bunt in that situation, Nick. I get the bunt there. I knew Motley wouldn't bunt, but I like the bunt there this early in the game. I think this at-bat is massive. If Acosta can get on here and load the bases for her sister, it completely changes the complexion of this game early. First pitch, foul back.
And we know Acosta is a common to getting those, hits on the other opposite side of the field. So able to get something into left. That could bring home at least 1, maybe even 2, depending on how hard it's hit.
1. Hit out toward left center field. That's down for a hit. 1 run in to score, and they will hold Motley at third.
As
but
Acosta
the
goes
throw
second.
allows Acosta to move up to second.
Well, they call me Nick Stradamus for a reason, Joe. I just
did
mentioned
just what you said.
I said she's a slap hitter into left field the opposite way. That's exactly what she did. And a good heads-up base running as well. She saw where the throw went. The Dolphins wisely did not send the second runner, Motley, home. They hold her at third. Now the Dolphins have the tying runs at base and the go-ahead runner at the plate, and Anissa Acosta.
Anissa Acosta to the plate with the tying runs in scoring position. Looks at strike 1.
And, Joe, I'm a fan of the dramatics. We talked about the number earlier on. How ironic would it be if she were to get her first home run in this spot to give CSI the lead?
You're sounding mighty partial right now, Nick.
No, I don't try to do it as often.
And Acosta hits one on the ground. Booted. And they'll have no play. In to score is Motley. Alyssa Acosta to third. And Anissa Acosta reaches on a critical Saints error.
Yeah, I think it would have been a tough play, honestly, Joe.
Really?
If fielded. That one was hit up the middle. It would have been really
to tell
tough.
From here, Nick.
It would have been really tough to get Acosta out. We'll see. I'm going to look at the replay and see how they would score that one down. It's right now goes down as an error.
All right, let me get a look too.
I think that's the right call.
Okay, I thought it was an error off the bat,
Yeah.
so I'm vindicated. But
it was up the middle.
I'm
I thought
on a longer delay than normal because
Error.
we're not doing the ultra low latency simulcast. So
yeah.
once the replay begins, I will get a look at it. I can't even get the broadcast to begin playing, Nick. So.
But how about the complexion of this game, Joe? It's now
Maybe later.
3-2. The Dolphins have the tying
Just
run
have
at
Stephanie
third.
do a quick check
I told
on
her.
her phone to make sure we're live.
I told her error it says, but I can check as well.
Conference at the circle for D'Youville here. Ahead of this plate appearance from Mariah Carcano.
We are good.
Dolphins have
are
the
live.
tying run at third, the go-ahead run at first. Saints bring the infield in. And Carcano looks to bunt, and she did get a piece there.
Now, Joe, The Dolphins wouldn't dare do the rundown play at this spot, right?
0-1 on the Dolphins center fielder.
Would they do the rundown spot here?
All right. I can confirm that everything is good on the streaming side of things. Count 0-2 now.
0-2 now, as you mentioned.
Bit of a delay here ahead of this next pitch.
Still 0-2.
Carcano hits one on the ground. Diving attempt comes up empty. The ball ends up in left field. And the Dolphins have tied the score at 3. The ball is still loose behind the plate. And the Saints finally track it down. It's an RBI base hit from Mariah Carcano. And the Dolphins have drawn even. It's now knotted up at 3. We have lost Nick somehow. I'm not sure where he went. His audio is no longer coming through on my end. However, I am coming through on the broadcast. So until we get things sorted out, I'll take you through the rest of this half inning, and we'll get Nick back for the start of the third. Amanda Stalker, the batter here. 2 Dolphins in scoring position. And Stalker takes low, ball 1.
Let's see if that works now. Do you hear me now, Joe?
The 1-0. In for a strike, 1-1. Acosta on third, Carcano on second. Go-ahead run. Over at third base, the Dolphins had Stalker squaring to bunt there, and she bunts it foul. That definitely caught me by surprise. I'm sure it caught the Saints by surprise as well. I did not expect to see Stalker bunt with how hot she's been at the plate. She's now behind 1-2. Pitch on its way. And that's it out toward left, and it's down for a base hit. Fair ball down the line. 2 runs in to score, and Stalker is out at second. It's a 2 RBI single for Amanda Stalker, and the Dolphins have gone in front 5-3. What an inning for the Dolphins, bouncing back from a big inning for D'Youville in the top half. They have scored 5 here in the home third, and they now lead it by 2. Eileen Balderas at the plate now. Base is empty, 2 away. And Balderas hits one on the ground to short, and she will be out at first to retire the side. But not before the Dolphins go in front, 5-3. We'll try and get Nick back in for the third, and we'll be back shortly.
Dear softball, where to begin with what you have given me? I have struggled with you at times, but you have unequivocally made me who I am today. You have given me light in the darkest times where I thought light could not enter. Growing up, you were there for me when social groups may not have been. You were there through familiar hard times, and you never gave up on me. You have introduced me to so many influential people in my life, and I wouldn't have dreamt of meeting if it was not for you. You always kept me motivated to pursue a dream. No matter what was going on in life, you kept inspiring me to chase my dreams. And you have taught me many life lessons life lessons of overcoming, perseverance, and what it truly means to dedicate yourself to your craft. You have taught me that success is not guaranteed or promised, and that it is earned every second of every day. Softball, you have guided me, pushed me to be my best, and inspired me. You kept me going when I thought I had no more to give. At times, you were my last hope. You have led me to this moment here, today, where I could not be more indebted to you. My name is Jenna Lilly. I am a senior softball player at the University of Oregon, majoring in sociology with a minor in psychology.
All right, we are back here for the top of the third inning. At least I hope I'm still live. We were having audio issues, but I think for the majority of that inning, I was still good. The issue that we had is I believe Joe Foreman couldn't hear me. So I think my audio was good. Not really necessarily certain if that was the case. But what an inning for the Dolphins. 5 runs on 5 hits. Amanda Stalker broke the even score with that 2-run single. And now the Dolphins have themselves a 5-3 lead here in the third inning, as the count goes to 1-1 to Summer Clark. So hopefully when Joe Foreman rejoins me on the call, he'll sprint his way down for the baseball press box. But once he does join me back, hopefully he can hear me. It will be on for the duration of this game. Count currently is 2-1. She hits that one. It's a left field and through for a base hit. A soft liner into left field over both Warner and Balderas. It's a leadoff single, and I think that will lead to a pitching change for the Dolphins. Looks like the Dolphins will turn to the bullpen. Let's see what comes out. I believe it's going to be Alexandra Frenza.
Tensions is definitely rising. Teed up right now.
So Alexandra French will come on in relief. We'll do a quick break here in the CSI softball complex. It's a new pitcher for CSI. They still lead this one, 5-3.
NCAA athletes don't just compete. They make history. Representing our nation with pride and excellence, they bring home the hardware. Our college campuses serve as training grounds for the next generation of stars. Catch tomorrow's Olympians and Paralympians on the NCAA Championship stage today.
And we are back from the CSI softball complex, and Nick and I solved the mystery of this missing audio. To our audience, Nick was not missing. To me, he was missing. And the reason why is because I ran the instant replay from our live stream in the background. The audio of the live stream overtook Nick's audio, and I could no longer hear him. It muted Nick and played the replay.
So everyone heard me at home. I thought I was going crazy, but evidently I still was going crazy regardless.
And a potential double play here. They
turn it!
5-3 on the double play. Lined into the glove of Warner. Throw back across the diamond in time. 2 quick outs for Alexandra Frenza in relief.
Warner has done impeccable today, Joe, at third base. I mentioned it a couple times already, but what a heads-up play. She got that soft liner hit to third, made the jumping grab, made the quick throw to first base in time, and just like that, there's now 2 outs of the inning.
Pitch taken out of the zone for ball 1 now. I can see, Nick, that it is Laura Beck at the plate. Our live stats still have not caught up, so I am very far behind on the live stats.
Okay, I'll see what the issue is with that.
Well, it's because we had to start the game over after the old TG shuffle.
Right, okay. Still funny how we call it that.
I'll have to let Tracy know that we have that named after her.
She might do a shuffle of a different kind if the Dolphins hold on to win this game.
I think it would be well-deserved.
Absolutely.
Some dance moves if the Dolphins win this game.
Absolutely. With right reason.
Score 5-3 Staten Island here in the top of the third. as that's lofted out toward right center. Racing over is Carcano, and she makes the catch. Dolphins face the minimum here in the third, helped along by a line drive double play. The Dolphin defense has been on point today, and they lead it 5-3, headed to the home third.
That's a timeout on betting. It completely changed the game, and you didn't even notice. Let me break it down for you. Betting ads are applying full court pressure and getting you to play the game. Many of you are falling for it and losing big money. Addiction is happening in some more than others. Now players are getting harassed by bettors. And we all know that's not how the game is won. So it's on us to be good teammates and draw the line to stay ahead of betting consequences.
Olivia Wanzer at the plate for the Dolphins to lead off the home half of the third inning. Dolphins with a 5-3 lead, looking for more as Wanzer takes strike one.
Well, I mentioned in the last half inning, Joe, what a difference this game has now made. 3-0 lead for D'Youville. Now is a 2-run lead for the Dolphins, as that was not pleasant.
Yeah, I was back there for about, 15 minutes
in
between the games and a little bit for setup. I still have a mouthful of infield dirt.
Yeah.
I still really can't see, but good enough to call the game.
I'm surprised I can see.
Well, you have the shades as that's hit the third. Throw to first in time, and Wanzer is retired for the first out.
I might have the shades, but they've been covered by dirt as well.
Got those the speckled shades now.
Yeah. Well, we saw that last half inning, Joe. 5 runs for the Dolphins. Olivia Warner got things started with that single. She comes up now with 1 gone in the inning.
8 Dolphins came to the plate in the home second. Warner bats here with 1 out in the third. And she fouls back the first pitch.
And of course, she made that great defensive play in the last half inning, defensively for CSI. That double play on that liner to third. And changed the complexion of that inning as well for the Dolphins after they made the pitching change.
Warner behind 0-1. That's taken high. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Saints did not make a pitching change, so for now, Clark stays in. You and I mentioned it. You saw, I should say, Partridge warming up in their bullpen. So they would like to see at least Clark can get past this inning right here.
That pitch taken high. 2 balls and 1 strike. And I brought up the point before, Nick. I'm very curious to see how early D'Youville would go to the bullpen. Because if you go to the bullpen now and Partridge comes in, you're expecting her to finish this game in all likelihood.
Right.
Does she have that many pitches left in the tank? And are you willing to extend one of your pitchers that far? I think I'm in the minority, Nick, but if I have a pitcher who goes game 1 that I think I may need in game 2, I'm using them as the opener. Rather than having them come in and try and close it at the end.
Nick, you're not guaranteed to at least give them that chance at the end.
As Warner will swing and miss for strike 3, but this is going back many years now to 2021. Dave Pizzuto and I called a game that season, one of the last games that we did while together in athletics. And it was a game, or a doubleheader, I should say, here at the softball complex against the University of Bridgeport. The Dolphins weren't yet eligible for the postseason, and the games mattered to Bridgeport in the conference standings. They were originally postponed. They played a night doubleheader. I believe it was 5 and 7 p.m. In that doubleheader, one of the Purple Knights pitchers threw well over 200 pitches in 2 games.
Wow.
It was one of the most outrageous pitch counts I've ever seen, as that's grounded to second. Adamo's throw to first is in time, and that will do it for the Dolphins in the home third inning. We are through 3 from the College of Staten Island. Dolphins lead the Saints 5-3.
In NCAA Division II, student athletes leave a lasting impression on their communities. That's because Division II student athletes want to make a difference and truly be part of their surrounding communities. Through community engagement, thousands of student athletes from various backgrounds interact with community members who view them as role models. This interaction leaves a positive and perhaps even life-changing impression on all those involved. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement our
Annie Jorgensen will lead off the fourth inning for D'Youville. They trail by a pair. Jorgensen facing Alexandra Frenza grounds that one foul. And Nick, tough to see through the trees, but there is some action in the Dolphins bullpen.
Well, the trees have been not a fan of some of our Dolphins here today. That's a little tidbit from what happened in Game 1. But
so I got some more context on how Coach Morrow
is
ran
he okay?
into a tree.
First
He is
off?
okay. He is okay. So he spotted a new gopher hole outside of his clubhouse, looked down to inspect the new hole, and then walked straight into a low-hanging tree branch.
Oh, my goodness. At least he's okay.
We had a good laugh about it as I was heading back up to the press box, and that pitch is taken up and away, 1-2.
And we talked about it in Game 1, Joe. Speaking of Coach Morrow, of course, Dolphins, if they can hang on in this game, will clinch their first postseason berth in the Division II era in softball. Baseball next week here at the baseball complex will have a chance to do the same thing as well.
Count 2-2 now. But for baseball, we're going to take a look at the standings at some point today. And
you mentioned that some of the scores could impact the status as well.
Exactly. So we'll try and figure out exactly where the Dolphins stand as that's hit well out to left center, cut off in the gap by Carcano. And that will hold Jorgensen to a loud single. Leadoff base runner for D'Youville here in the fourth.
Well, Jorgensen leads the team in terms of home runs this season, has had a good RBI number as well. And you mentioned it, hard contact right off the bat, gets a single to lead off the inning. They bring the tie run to the plate, and I think we're going to have a pitch runner for Jorgensen in the spot, and that's indeed the case.
So pinch runner into the game for D'Youville here.
Allie Biardi once again.
Second straight game, she gets the pinch running assignment.
The wind.
Watch out.
Yeah, the wind is trying to take down our laptop behind the home plate.
Well, we can't have that.
I'm holding it with great force right now.
Not on your watch, Nick. That laptop does not go down on your watch.
Yeah, it's not happening. We already had one laptop fall today. We don't want a second one.
That's right.
So I'm looking right now, Joe, while we had a second in the break, for some of the scores that happened today in baseball. I'll see if I can get an update as well.
That pitch taken for a called strike one.
So the finals that I see right here, Joe, we have Malloy beating D'Youville 3-0, Mercy beating Queens 7-6.
Both of those results help the Dolphins. As that's bunted toward third, Warner has it. Throw to first in time. And the throw behind the runner at second keeps Biardi planted to the bag.
Another good defensive play today by Warner. I've mentioned it a bunch of times already, but it just shows what she's done today in these two games. And she saw the bunt going down, made the good throw to first base. Sacrifice works for the Saints as now they move the runner into scoring position.
Runner on second, one out in the inning for D'Youville. And that pitch is in for a called strike to Becca Sawyer.
So the question I have, Joe, is that second game between, I believe it's Mercy and Queens. Does that play a factor right now for the Dolphins in terms?
If Queens loses, as that's lined into left for a base hit, and they will hold Biardi at third. Sawyer with the base hit, puts runners on the corners with one out. And now the number 9 hitter, Sophia Arnaud, will be the batter. But back to your question, Nick. I think if the Knights lose 2 more games, they cannot pass the Dolphins. And at that point, I think the Dolphins are pretty safe.
It would just come down to CSI and Mercy in terms of being the 2 seed, I would assume.
Well, D'Youville is still after a spot. As the rundown is induced, the throw is muffed, but they do have a runner hung up between first and second. And they are chasing Sawyer back and forth. They apply the tag, but the run does come in. You hate to give up the out there if you're D'Youville, but you'll certainly trade it for a run.
So let's get the official put out. That's going to be 2-6. I believe then it was picked up as Balderas had it, then dropped it. It was picked up by Motley. She then threw it to Acosta, then threw it to Balderas, I believe, and then she made the tag.
That's why we have the power of replay, Nick.
Yeah. I'll have to look over it again during the next half inning break, but I believe that is the official putout. But it's now a 5-4 game, as you mentioned.
Now, do you like that play?
I don't like throwing it to second in that spot.
So you would, well, I don't think you can give the runner second. You can't give the tying run second.
I like the play where you throw it to the, to the shortstop in a cutoff attempt.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Well, if you do that, then the runner could still take second behind you, as that's grounded through for a base hit. Now, that's exactly why I asked the question.
That's exactly why, right.
That's exactly why.
Right.
And I was speaking more so to giving up the out for the run, because if you're a runner on first and you stop halfway, you're conceding the out unless there's an error somewhere. And that's exactly what the base runner Sawyer did. She stopped, allowed the runner to score, and gave up the out. I think the reason they did it is because they had the 9-hitter at the plate, but in that spot, Arnaud came through. So effectively, you gave away an out for nothing, though you didn't know you were getting a hit before you did so.
Right.
Tying run now on base. It's 5-4.
Back to the top of the lineup as well for the Saints.
Emily Shibish, the batter. Count on Shibish, 2-0.
Gotta make it 3-0.
Well, you do not want to walk Shibish here because you have 2, 3, and 4 behind her. Adamo on deck is 1 for 2. Clark in the hole is 1 for 2. And then you have the cleanup hitter, and Gabby Moreno, and Frenza issues the walk.
She walked her on 4 straight, and the other reason why you don't want to walk her is because if you put her on base, I mentioned her numbers earlier in Game 1 in terms of stolen base attempts. She's 24 for 25 on the season. So now something into the gap could give D'Youville back the lead.
And I think you have to send Stephanie down to the Dolphins bullpen and let us know who's throwing, because I cannot tell from here. I can just see somebody is throwing.
Okay.
I would guess it's Kennedy Ruth, but it is impossible to tell from here, as that's lofted out into right center for another Saints base hit. That should tie the game, and it will. The throw is cut off. It's an RBI single for Gianna Adamo, and D'Youville has drawn even. We're knotted up at 5.
It's been a back-and-forth contest between these two teams, Joe. We expected this going into the second game after the Dolphins hanged on for a 1-run victory. We saw what happened the last time these two teams played their doubleheader. It was a close 2 matchups, and we're in for another close matchup. And Kennedy Ruth is coming in to pitch for the Dolphins.
Yeah, Nick, my question is, if now, why not before? But Ruth comes in, and she inherits a couple of base runners with 2 outs here in the 4th. We'll throw it to a quick break. When we come back, a chance for the Saints to take the lead. The Dolphins turn to Kennedy Ruth to try and get out of it.
Dear softball, where to begin with what you have given me? I have struggled with you at times, but you have unequivocally made me who I am today. You have given me light in the darkest times where I thought light could not enter. Growing up, you were there for me when social groups may not have been. You were there through familiar hard times, and you never gave up on me. You have introduced me to so many influential people in my life, and I wouldn't have dreamt of meeting if it was not for you. You always kept me motivated to pursue a dream. No matter what was going on in life, you kept inspiring me to chase my dreams. And you have taught me many life lessons of overcoming, perseverance, and what it truly means to dedicate yourself to your craft. You have taught me that success is not guaranteed or promised, and that it is earned every second of every day. Softball, you have guided me, pushed me to be my best, and inspired me. You kept me going when I thought I had no more to give. At times, you were my last hope. You have led me to this moment here, today, where I could not be more indebted to you. My name is Jenna Lilly. I am a senior softball player at the University of Oregon, majoring in sociology with a minor in psychology.
First pitch from Kennedy Ruth, in for a called strike. She faces Summer Clark, and Clark has a chance to put herself in line for a win and to give D'Youville the lead. As she pops one up, shallow left, could be trouble.
What a catch by Balderas!
Got it! A basket catch up against the fence. Eileen Balderas with a huge play in foul ground. The Dolphins escape with a tie score. However, D'Youville on the board twice in the 4th is now even. We are all knotted up at 5.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, about 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. wanted to do a podcast, and everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen? You're not going to get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You could vouch for that.
I'm so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials, check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
Home fourth inning from the CSI softball complex as the first pitch of the home fourth is hit out to right and caught. Very quickly one away.
Had to make sure you had the right inning. It's a little pause for a second, but
hey,
it happens.
I don't have a scoreboard now.
That's true. That's true.
I'm going off of memory right now.
I know. But
I'm an encyclopedia of the last 10 years.
That's true.
I've hardly missed, I'd say I probably missed maybe, 3% of the games at most?
Yeah, probably at most.
That pitch taken for a strike on the outside corner by Alyssa Acosta.
Pitcher got their best friend on that last play, Joe. 1 pitch, 1 out to start the inning.
That is true. Acosta at the plate in this game, 1 for 1. Had an RBI hit her last time, and that is a rope straight into the glove of the third baseman, Sawyer.
I've made this point already a couple of times, but that's why they call it the hot corner. That one was, as you mentioned, roped down third base, and Sawyer made a good job of making the catch. And just like that, quick 2 outs here in the fourth.
Hot corner indeed. That was a scorcher off the bat of Acosta, who's hit the ball hard twice. If you're Tracy Garofalo and the Dolphins coaching staff, you have to like the swing she's put on the ball today. And now Anissa Acosta hits the first pitch foul.
Acosta looking to extend the Dolphin inning here with 2 outs now. This is another inning of work for Summer Clark here in this game.
Clark has allowed 5 runs thus far. D'Youville did commit a critical error earlier in the game, as that's chopped past the circle. Fielded at second, throw
Safe.
Not in time. Now, did Clark get a piece of it, Nick?
She did not.
That's just a slow roller in the right place, and Acosta beats out an infield hit.
Acosta gets the infield hit, extends the inning for the Dolphins there, Joe. A big 2-out knock, 6th hit of the game for CSI, and now Mariah Carcano will come up.
Carcano 1 for 2. Pitch on the way. And Carcano was showing bunt. I'll tell you, Nick, when a batter shows bunt and the middle infielders have to respect and cover, specifically second base, covering first, it makes it hard to get back and go for the caught stealing if the runner goes, as that's hit toward the left side. And Carcano is out. I lost the ball, Nick. Was that hit to the left side?
It was hit to the right side.
Okay. Completely lost the ball from up here, but Carcano was out.
To your left, to my right.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. That's what I meant, Nick.
Yes.
Good save.
I
Good
gotcha.
save. We are through 4 here at the CSI Softball Complex. Dolphins and Saints tied at 5.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials. Live music. And the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dine-in order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Oh, how about that dust of wind? My goodness. Have to watch out of the way on that one. So we're back here for the top of the fifth. Still 5-5. Fives all around here at the CSI Softball Complex. And now make it 2-0. Kennedy Ruth needed just 2 pitches to get out of that last inning for CSI. (2-0). This is low for ball 3. Be 4, 5, and 6 for the Saints here up in this 5th inning. Moreno has a chance to work a walk to start it off. And she does indeed get the walk. She's walked on 4 straight to start off the 5th. And Moreno looks like will be pitch ran in this spot, as Lauren Beck is now up to the plate.
The right fielder, number 15, Laura Beck.
Danielle Fenlong is now the pitch runner.
Good job, 1-5. Let's go, 1-5. Do your job.
That one in there for a strike now. Count goes 0-1. We'll see if Beck is able to lay down the bunt and move the runner into scoring position. This Beck now has a conference down at the third baseline with their head coach. We'll see if she does lay down the bunt here on 0-1. Does show bunt, hits it towards third and past Warner, and that goes into shallow left. That's in for a bunt single. A well-executed bunt off the bat of Laura Beck. And it's first and second, nobody out here in the 5th.
The catcher, number 23.
A very tough break for the Dolphins right there, as a bad bounce did not go their way.
All right, Nick, you have me now?
I hear you now, Joe.
All right. I don't know what happened.
Not sure either.
I had levels, you had levels, and we had no connection. But we're back. I blame the campus internet. That's always a safe bet. Though I am wired today. It's been great all year. As that's popped up on the bunt. And it gets down. Everybody's safe.
Ruth tried to make the sliding grab there, Joe, and just could not get it. And now, big spot for the Saints. Bases loaded, nobody out.
Pressure mounting very quickly on Kennedy Ruth and the Dolphins right here, as D'Youville has loaded the bases here in the 5th.
We're going to have a pinch hitter as well. Mia Tritley, will be batting in the spot with the bases loaded.
Pinch hitter for the Saints, number 13, Mia Tritley.
So Tritley comes up in a massive spot.
Without question, the biggest at bat of her Saints career.
How do you play this if you're the Dolphins? Do you concede a run for a double play if you think you have a shot?
I think you go home.
I'm with you. I think it's late, and you have to come home with this game now in the 5th inning. But priority number 1, if you're Kennedy Ruth, you have to throw strikes.
Right.
Comes the 1-0.
Missed on the inside, 2-0.
Well, I'm getting a call from our colleague, Louis Machone. He knows we're on a broadcast right now. What is he doing?
Throw him right back under the bus, Joe.
That's right.
Right back.
What is he doing?
You gave him a chance earlier, now he's going back. Now he's calling me. Oh, Louis.
That pitch taken high. Tell him we're on a broadcast. If he wants to speak to us, he has to come to the game.
I'm not picking it up. I'm trying to get scoring updates for the next game.
Count now 3-0.
And she missed with 4 straight,
ball
Joe.
4, and I don't know if anybody thought that was ball except for the umpire because nobody moved.
The batter didn't know. No one on the Dolphins knew as well. That's a tough one for CSI. Still nobody out, and now the Saints have once again regained the lead.
A walk forces home the go-ahead run. The
Wow.
bases are still loaded with nobody out. And this very quickly can slip away from the Dolphins if they aren't careful. And now we're going to have a conference of Saints along the third baseline. The Dolphins gather around the circle.
I'll give you a quick update from Detroit right now, Joe, with the Knicks game. Karl Anthony Towns just hit a big three-pointer. Knicks are up 1 with 54 seconds left.
Wow. Well, our audience, if they've followed us the last couple of weeks, knows how invested we are in the Knicks. They know how invested we are in the result of this game. Of
course.
It's one we've been talking about now for, seems like, 3 weeks. I remember back when the season began here at the CSI Softball Complex with our first home game, that is, on April 9th, you and I were talking about how big the final week of the season would be. And the original plan was Dolphins hosting the Mavericks, which are 2 games that we thought would be must-win games for the Dolphins. And then the Dolphins were scheduled to visit Dieuville today. That changed. It became Dolphins home games, and the Dolphins visited Buffalo earlier in the year. Becca Sawyer at the plate here, and she takes high for ball 1. And, Nick, I think you may be seeing the effects of back-to-back games of work here.
And you could definitely see some signs of concern because Ruth has missed with her last couple of pitches as well.
It is not easy to pitch back-to-back games, as that's in for a strike.
And considering the spot that this is in right now, where the bases are loaded, there's still nobody out. So this could be a make-or-break inning right now for both sides.
That pitch taken low, 2-1. We figured Ruth was available. We did not know it for a fact, and I'd have to double-check on the statistics. I do not believe she has pitched in 2 games back-to-back all season.
Tracy Garofalo having some words with the home plate umpire.
I'm sure she's pleased.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
That's popped up. Foul ground.
And caught by Acosta, Joe. Great catch.
How did she manage to pull that off up against the fence?
No, not sure.
That ball was not hit very high,
No.
not hit very far. Either way, it is a huge first out for the Dolphins.
And now you can think about going to the double play depth here that you talked about earlier in the inning.
And I can confirm Kennedy Ruth has not pitched back-to-back games in a doubleheader all
Heads
year.
up.
More dust and dirt circling around the plate.
Not as bad as the ones we've had earlier, but still not great.
There have been some really, really nasty
here it
dust
comes.
clouds like that.
Now, Joe Calabrese keeps coming over here. He's a madman right now for trying to see what's going on behind the plate.
He wore white hoodie today.
And he's wearing shorts.
And shorts. I don't know what that man was thinking.
Psychotic behavior.
Yeah. Someone get him a mental health eval as that's taken down and in for ball 2. Ruth, by no means out of danger yet. Got the big out on the foul pop-up. And that's in for a strike, 2-1.
Dieuville fans thought they had ball 3. That was a late strike call, and they were not happy with that call.
I thought they might have had ball 3. I'm
I
400
thought-
feet away, but I thought it was high.
I thought they did too.
Yeah, I thought it was high. That's popped up again.
Out of play.
But out of play.
So just like that now, Joe, she's 1 strike away from getting the second out. Got to minimize this damage. Can't really afford any more runs realistically to come around to score.
It's 2-2. Hate to run it full if you're Ruth. And that's hit sharply right
Double
back to
play!
first. Another Dolphins double play. A huge double play. 3-3 at first base on yet another line drive hit to a CSI corner infielder. The Saints have stranded the bases loaded yet again. They settle for just 1, and we head to the home fifth with D'Youville in front of Staten Island 6-5.
The Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Dolphins come to bat in the bottom half of the fifth inning, now trailing by a run as Amanda Stalker takes high for ball one.
And you know what, Joe? It could have been far worse. A huge double play to end that inning kept it at a one-run deficit.
We said it before, Nick. The Dolphins' defense for most of the day has been fantastic. As Stalker takes low, 2-0.
Summer Clark gets another inning of work as well. Here in the fifth, now has the lead once again.
Saints bullpen is quiet. 2-0. And Stalker swinging 2-0, sends one into shallow right field for a base hit. That just got over Adamo's glove, and the Dolphins have the leadoff batter on in the fifth.
A blooper out into right field by Stalker. Gets it over the second baseman and into right field for the single. Tying run at first. Go-ahead runner at the plate, and Eileen Balderas.
That will bring up Eileen Balderas. Balderas 0 for 2 in this game. First pitch on its way, low for ball one.
And you mentioned no action up in the St. bullpen, but what spot would you think about maybe warming up someone with now the go-ahead runner at the plate?
Nick, we have a final in Detroit, 94-93 Knicks. We can rest easy.
You spoiled it before I even saw the end.
And
that's a base
one
hit.
Is lined into center for a base hit. Stalker up to second. Balderas on at first. And it's back-to-back singles to open up the home fifth for the Dolphins.
Wow. I mean, great game we have going on here. Thankfully for you and I, we got a big Knicks win. A nice early birthday present for you here on this Sunday. And now for the Dolphins, Joe, first and second, nobody out. And I think we're going to have a pitcher change. And it is indeed time. Sarah Parjic is coming in to pitch for the Saints.
So with that, Parjic will come in, and the Dolphins, with 2 on and nobody out in the fifth, will have an opportunity to get even or take the lead. We head to break. Dolphins trail the Saints 6-5. And we are back from the College of Staten Island, where D'Youville leads Staten Island 6-5. CSI with 2 runners on and nobody out in the home fifth inning. And the Saints have called upon their Game 1 starter, Sarah Parjic, to come on and face Olivia Wanzer. First pitch. Foul back.
And Parjic pitched a really good game in Game 1, Joe. Only allowed the 2 runs, both via a wild pitch in that first inning. Did not allow a run the rest of the way. So a tough loss for her in Game 1, very similar to what happened for Kennedy Ruth when she faced Parjic back at D'Youville.
The 0-1 pitch on its way to Wanzer. Outside. 1-1.
A little bit of an off-speed pitch on that one on the outside corner. The count evens at 1. And, you know, I talked about the 2 words earlier, but sports drama. This is a big drama spot with everything that's going on today.
High drama indeed. As Wanzer takes outside. 2-1.
Early hitters count now for Wanzer here. Can't afford to walk. Wanzer load the bases.
Two and one upcoming. And Wanzer hits one to short. They go to third, and the runner is safe.
That was the only play they had there, Joe. And a great job of base running over at third base by Stalker. An interesting celebration by Stalker at the end of that. I'll just say, leave it at that.
Well, I didn't see it through the trees, Nick,
okay.
So you'll have to fill me in.
Let's just say she dabbed. That's all she did.
As I like to say, bruh. First time I've gotten to do that on a broadcast.
I'm sure her parents, who we've interacted with the last couple of weeks, were happy that she got in there just in the nick of time.
I thought you were about to sarcastically say they were proud.
No. Well, they are obviously proud. But now, Joe, bases loaded, nobody out. We just had this situation happen for D'Youville in the last half inning. Now the Dolphins have this spot.
Well, Nick, it goes without saying you have to get the run in. Without question, you have to get the run in here.
Cannot blow this opportunity for the Dolphins. This is realistically a season-defining inning right now for CSI.
Warner behind 0-1. She takes up and in, 1 ball and 1 strike.
And there's no room for error as well for Partridge because now the base is loaded. You can't walk Warner. That would bring home the tying run. So there is no room for error. She's got to find a way to get around this.
Big pitch here, 1-1. Up high, 2-1.
And now an early hitter's count for Warner, who already has a hit in this game. Now heading the count 2-1.
The 2-1 pitch. In at the knees, 2-2.
Got that one on the outside corner. 2-2 now in this at bat.
If you're Warner here, you have to try and put the ball in play. Can't afford to strike out. The 2-2. That's popped up.
Out of play.
It will land out of play.
And I think the Saints would do the same thing to the Dolphins. We talked about that last FA. They would do the same exact thing. If the ball is hit in the infield, they're going straight to home on any force out.
They may try. They're pretty deep in the middle. It would have to be hit hard. 2-2. It's low.
They just missed it looked like.
I could hear the Saints supporters,
Yes.
Nick. They wanted that one bad.
They needed that one bad. Yeah, that didn't miss by much.
That is a big, big call. The count now full, 3-2 on Warner. Bases loaded, nobody out in a 1-run game. The payoff pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3.
And she got her to chase on that high fastball, Joe. What a pitch from Partridge. Huge, out number 1. And for the Saints, they are now a double play ball away from escaping the situation.
Well, if you're Warner in that situation, obviously you can't let a good pitch go by and look at strike 3. Hard to tell how much that missed by, Nick, but it looked well upstairs. Bridget Motley, the batter now. And Motley takes a strike.
Motley also has a hit in this game, but we talked about it. You know, you want to at least bring home that runner from third. At least get one, tie the game going into the 6th.
You have to have the run on third, Nick. Have to have it. 0-1. And Motley fouls it back.
And the Dolphins now are in danger of back-to-back strikeouts after having the bases loaded with nobody out.
We've seen Motley in this spot before. Behind 0-2, battles back, works the count, and is able to put the ball in play when needed. The Dolphins need it more than ever right now.
Wow, very interesting text I just saw from Lou Matron about the next game.
Well, he felt the need to call about it during a broadcast, so I hope it was a good one.
I'd hope so. Call both of us.
Incredible. The 0-2. And Motley takes low.
Motley cannot strike out in the spot either, Joe. Just at least get the ball in play.
Count 1 ball and 2 strikes on the Dolphins' second baseman. Pitch on its way. And that's hit off the bag and up into the air. Everybody is safe, and the tying run comes in to score. It's an RBI single for Bridget Motley, and the Dolphins have gotten even.
Motley, as of late, has been swinging a great bat there, Joe. A huge single, as you mentioned, off of the third base bag. And I think if you're the Saints, you got very lucky on that play. For the only reason I say that is because the runner going to third slid into the bag. If not, Balderas sliding into third, she would have had a chance to score on that play.
Yeah, that's a good point, Nick. That ball got away, not too far, but the point you made, if Balderas...
Tracy Garofalo was sending her home, but...
Was she?
She
But
was.
She already slid.
She was already sliding.
Chance here now for Natalia Kanoth. Base is still loaded, 1 out in the inning. And Kanoth takes ball 1.
And, of course, the same situation here for the Dolphins. Just at least get the ball in play and give yourselves a chance to regain the lead.
What a game this has been.
Yeah.
And we still have 2 innings plus. Perhaps more in a tie game. As Kanoth takes up and away.
Early 2-0 count. A dangerous spot for Partridge right here, trying to avoid that go-ahead runner from scoring from third base.
Infield still back in the middle. Pretty standard all around in terms of depth as Kanoth takes a called strike.
That last hit now gives both teams double-digit hits in this game. 13 for the Saints, 10 for the Dolphins, and the wind in the dirt. Yeah, that was not good.
It sounded like you just tasted infield dirt.
Yeah. Probably not wise to make a point during that play.
That's it in the air. Is it deep enough?
It drops!
It will fall! Base hit! Natalia Kanoth with a go-ahead RBI single has put the Dolphins in front 7-6.
That one pretty much just died down in the left
wind,
field.
Nick, the wind killed that ball in flight. I cannot believe that fell.
It looked like it was going to be a play made in left, but you talked about it. The wind pretty much knocked the ball down. It drops in the outfield. Thankfully, again, for the Saints, they are able to pick up the ball and avoid 2 runs from scoring. But just like that, CSI has regained the lead 7-6.
And Nick, I don't want to speak too early, but we appear headed for an all-time finish to the season.
Absolutely.
I don't believe that outside of last year's game against Mercy, I've ever called a season finale to decide the team's playoff fate. Whether or not they were getting in, that is. We've had games determine seeding.
We had a pinch runner as well, Joe, and I'll bring that up in just a moment. Alyssa Acosta is now the batter.
First pitch. Low ball 1.
We had Jennifer Cohen pinch running at first base. So she's now on first. And now Alyssa Acosta, who we mentioned, has been swinging a good bat here today in Game 2. Has a chance to get the Dolphins some more runs.
She's hit the ball hard twice. The 1-0. Foul back. And one more hit here, Nick, completely changes the complexion of this game.
This is a all-important at-bat for both sides because on deck, you have the top of the lineup coming back up for CSI. So if you're Partridge, you want to get the out right here. If you're CSI, a hit would do you so much, would help you so much and help you tremendously.
1-1 in the dirt. Good block behind the plate. Jorgensen, who's already 3 for 3 at the dish, blocks one that may have saved the run.
She was at first base in Game 1, and we saw what happened. 2 bounces at home plate, allowed 2 wild pitches, and those were the only 2 runs the Dolphins scored in that game.
Count now 2-1. And that's hit out to left
Might
center.
be trouble.
Falling fast, and it's dropped! The throw goes to third, and they get the out there. Wow.
Acosta hit that one on a blooper into left and brings in another run for the Dolphins, and they now have an 8-6 lead.
Well, that will be a fielder's choice RBI for Acosta. The Dolphins now go in front by 2. And Anissa Acosta has a chance to make this a 3-run game with a base hit, maybe even 4 if she can find a gap. That pitch fouled back. And you can see it versus Game 1. Parjic pitching to far more contact here in this relief outing.
Yeah. She was over the 100, I believe either was over the 100-pitch mark or just missed the 100-pitch mark in Game 1.
To get through this game, Nick, if it ended up going 7, if she were to come in and earn a win, she might need 200 pitches on the day to do it.
Right.
She's approaching 30 in this inning alone.
I'll see if I can get the exact tallies that she had in Game 1.
Yeah, if you had her in the 120s in Game 1, she is very possibly going to approach 200 pitches. As Acosta takes a strike, 1-2. Parjic looking for one more big strike. Dolphins hoping to keep this rally going here in the 5th. The 1-2. Just low, 2-2. Two. Foul back. Count 2-2. And Nick, I think I lost you again.
No, you didn't. I'm still
Okay,
here.
you're muted.
I'm just relaying a message.
Okay. Got to let me know when you do
Okay,
that.
apologies. I'm going to mute again, so go ahead, Joe.
2-2. Hit toward right field. Falling fast. Foul ball. Just wide of the line in right. Very nearly a 2 RBI extra base hit for Acosta.
They just missed it by a few inches, Joe.
It was very close. I could see that one through the trees.
We'll do it again on 2-2. But this place would have erupted if that one stayed fair. And we talked about the importance of this game for players like Acosta. They're trying to extend their career today with the victory in this one.
Acosta has not yet tasted postseason softball with the Dolphins, looking to help change that here today. The 2-2. In the dirt, ball 3.
How about this now? Full count, 3-2, 2 on, 2 out. The runners will go. If Acosta gets it into the gap, or at least gets a single, she'll at least bring home one run, hopefully 2 for CSI.
Payoff pitch on its way. Fouled off.
This has been a very lengthy at-bat as well for Partridge, who has come into this game, has tried to minimize the damage. Dolphins have made some good contact, and even some of the hits they've got in the inning as well. You know, you have to play from Acosta in left field, a word the fielder's choice, but some bad bounces again.
They gave that a hit, Nick.
That was the relay I was relaying to them. I told them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Another 3-2 pitch. And Acosta takes ball 4. I thought the umpire was moving to ring her up there, Nick, and he did not.
I heard him that time, at least, for the first time. Just missed on the inside.
I thought I saw that fist rise. And admittedly, I am 400 feet away. Now, I think this takes the record for furthest away we've called a game from. At least I have.
Yeah.
You and I were, maybe 250 feet away for the Little League Baseball Championship?
Yes.
We were behind the wall in left field.
Again, I'm not good with measurements, but I'll take your word for it.
We'll say 250.
Yeah.
Mariah Carcano at the plate. Hits one on the ground, fielded cleanly, throw to third just in time. And that is a good play on the infield by DeUville to get that out at third as the play at first against Carcano's speed, always a tough one. However, the Dolphins score 3 times in the home 5th inning. They now lead by 2. We head to the 6th. Our score, Staten Island 8 and Deauville 6.
Dear softball, where to begin with what you have given me? I have struggled with you at times, but you have unequivocally made me who I am today. You have given me light in the darkest times where I thought light could not enter. Growing up, you were there for me when social groups may not have been. You were there through familiar hard times, and you never gave up on me. You have introduced me to so many influential people in my life, and I wouldn't have dreamt of meeting if it was not for you. You always kept me motivated to pursue a dream. No matter what was going on in life, you kept inspiring me to chase my dreams. And you have taught me many life lessons of overcoming, perseverance, and what it truly means to dedicate yourself to your craft. You have taught me that success is not guaranteed or promised, and that it is earned every second of every day. Softball, you have guided me, pushed me to be my best, and inspired me. You kept me going when I thought I had no more to give. At times, you were my last hope. You have led me to this moment here, today, where I could not be more indebted to you. My name is Jenna Lilly. I am a senior softball player at the University of Oregon, majoring in sociology with a minor in psychology.
And we are back for the 6th inning in what is shaping up to be an all-time classic. If you're a fan of Deauville, you're on the edge of your seat right now. If you're a fan of the Dolphins, you're also on the edge of your seat right now.
I'm on the edge of my seat right now.
I am, but for a different reason. I can't see the scoreboard if I'm not on the edge of my seat. So,
well, I can tell you for the lines in this game right now, 6 runs on 13 hits and the 1 error for the Saints. For the Dolphins, 8 runs on 11 hits, no errors. And what has been, as you mentioned, an all-time classic so far.
That pitch to Emily Shabish in for a called strike.
You and I, of course, called that 18-16 marathon over at baseball. This one is shaping up to be another good one as well.
And there's a swing and a miss by Shabish for strike 3.
Well, think about what happened that last day for Kennedy Ruth. The Dolphins had bases loaded, nobody out. They were able to only allow 1 run. Acosta made that good double play at first base. And that gave CSI a lot of morale going into that next half inning. They get 3 runs, and now you even see it. A nice celebration after the strikeout, and now they've got some confidence. They're 5 outs away from getting this one done.
5 big outs that they are looking for from Kennedy Ruth, who pitched in Game 1, went the distance, got the win. That one fouled away. Gianna Adamo, the batter here. She's quickly in a 2-strike hole, but Nick, it's not often you see a complete game effort, and then in Game 2, you come on in relief and earn a second win.
Shows you the amount of trust this team has in their ace.
That one fouled off again. The road to the postseason for the Dolphins got a lot tougher after a couple of losses to Mercy earlier in the week. They needed to win both to make it so that they only needed 1 win today, but obviously losing 2 games, entering today's doubleheader, needing a pair, not exactly the way you want to go in, as that pitch just misses 1 and 2.
Well, if you ask Tracy Garofalo, I'm sure she'll still be happy regardless. If they won't make it, they wouldn't have made it easy on themselves, but they still would be okay if they were able to get the job done.
And that's line into left. Base
Fair
hit
ball.
down the line. It gets by Acosta and rolls behind the tarp. Acosta fortunately able to track it down quickly. And it's a double off the bat of Gianna Adamo. The Saints now have a runner in scoring position with 1 out.
Downs had some good swings again here today. Gets a double right there, and now brings the tying run to the plate in Summer Clark. Still 1 gone in the inning, as Dolphins still trying to get those last 5 outs.
Tying run to the plate here for Deauville. As Nick mentioned, it is Summer Clark. Did I just hear Joe announce Clark as the pitcher?
Yes.
Shame on you, Joe. That's hit well out to left field, and Acosta makes the catch on the move. Off the bat, I did not think she had a chance, Nick.
That's one, Joe, where you wait if you're an audience member to see if it's caught or not, and then if you can celebrate as soon as the catch is made. Coastal's made some good plays out of left field here today. Basket catch in game 1, that catch here in game 2, 2 gone in the inning.
Big out for the Dolphins on a ball that was absolutely smoked. And that's popped up. Foul territory. Warner makes the catch, and that will do it for the Saints in the 6th. The Dolphins come to bat looking for insurance. They lead it 8-6.
Campuses nationwide, the NCAA is making transformative changes for student athletes. While they pursue their biggest dreams, we're launching new initiatives to help them. Life-changing education opportunities are just the start. The NCAA is providing enhanced mental health services. We're guaranteeing scholarships and tuition and expanding access to healthcare. Visit ncaa.org/change to learn more.
Amanda Stalker will lead off for the Dolphins here in the home 6th inning. CSI leads DeUville 8-6. A spot in the 2025 East Coast Conference Softball Championship on the line. And with the lead, the Dolphins will look for some insurance as Stalker takes strike 1.
Well, we saw the Dolphins in game 1, Joe. They had a 2-run lead going into the 7th. DeUville cut it to 1, was not able to tie it. The Dolphins would love to get some insurance runs in this inning, give Kevin A. Ruth a chance to close this one out.
Count on Stalker. Now 0-2 for the Dolphins. 3, 4, and 5. Looking for some insurance. Those 3 of the hitters you'd love to have at the plate.
Same exact 3, 4, 5 that led off the last inning for CSI.
That one's popped up. Just outside of fair territory. The catch is made for out number 1.
I'll bring up now Balderas with 1 away. She singled her last time up.
Balderas 1 for 3 in the game. And Nick, all 9 Dolphins who started this game have a hit. I'm not sure if they've done that all season.
I don't think they have.
No better time. As that's hit well out toward right center. And the catch is made just shy of the warning track. Another good play in the outfield. This time it's Shibish.
And you know, Joe, with so much on the line for these two teams here today, you have to commend what they've done defensively in this 2 games between the 2 of them. So much good defense has happened. The only really bad defensive play that's happened was an unfortunate bounce that went against DeUville in game 1.
Well, Nick, they still haven't changed that drop to an error. That was a drop. That error that DeUville made was critical during the Dolphins rally. That pop-up was dropped. That's an error, right?
In game 1 you talked about?
In this game.
In this game. I'd have to go back. I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a critical error.
They do have it up on the board, I can tell you that.
Well, that error was there already. I don't think they gave it an error. I don't know what they gave it.
I have to go back to the play-by-play and look.
I forget who hit it.
Right, that's what I'm trying to remember.
But it was a dropped pop-up, and it allowed a run to score. That was an error. Meanwhile, Olivia Wanzer is the batter. And Wanzer takes low. 2 balls and 1 strike.
So let's see. We fixed the fielder's choice. So obviously before that, I'd have to go back and look. I'm not 100% sure because I don't remember.
I'll check during the break. You and I will walk through it.
Yeah.
2-1, up and away for ball 3.
Via Partridge, you want to get this final out here, Joe. Don't extend the inning with a walk with 2 outs. Just get out of the inning now and then give your team a chance to tie or take the lead in the 7th.
(3-1), hit in the air on the infield. Damo ranges at the shallow left to make the catch, and that will do it for the Dolphins in the home 6th inning. Kennedy Ruth will head back to the circle. The Dolphins looking for 3 more outs to clinch a spot in the ECC playoffs.
That's a timeout on Betty. It completely changed the game, and you didn't even notice. Let me break it down for you. Betting ads are applying full court pressure and getting you to play the game. Many of you are falling for it and losing big money. Addiction is happening in some more than others. Now players are getting harassed by bettors. And we all know that's not how the game is won. So it's on us to be good teammates and draw the line to stay ahead of betting consequences.
And we are back for the 7th inning from the College of Staten Island. Dolphins leading 8-6, 3 outs away from their first ever Division II postseason berth, as that is chopped down the third base line, foul ball. And the count quickly 0-2. So, Nick, we mentioned before the break the drop pop-up. That became a fielder's choice. They did get an out on that play.
Yes.
They did get an out. However, a run scored.
Right.
So that is still a critical error. Well, a critical mistake.
Mistake, yes.
An error in the non-baseball, softball
terminology,
yes. Poor choice of words. It was a critical miscue. A very weird play where you get an out, but the out you got is not the out you wanted because a run scores. So that is where I was off with my error tally. We're all good now. And it's a 2-2 count here on Laura Beck. Beck is 2 for 3 in this game as that's hit out to left center, and Carcano can't make the diving catch. Beck headed for third, and she is in with a leadoff triple.
Carcano almost made the diving catch, Joe. Just missed it by a few inches, and just like that, Beck's on with a leadoff triple, and now the tie run comes to the plate here to start the 7th.
Almost an incredible play by Mariah Carcano.
And now a chance here for Annie Jorgensen, who has home run capabilities. Leads the team in home runs. Comes up with a runner on third, still nobody out.
Well, if there's ever a hitter that you'd want up as the tying run right now, if you're D'Youville, it's Jorgensen. She's 3 for 3 in this game. However, if you're the Dolphins and you can get Jorgensen out, even if the run scores, you have the bottom third of the order behind her.
Right.
And Jorgensen hits one deep to center. Carcano watches it hit off the wall. Jorgensen into second base, standing with an RBI double. The Saints are within 1, and the tying run is now in scoring position.
Joe, by a few inches, Jorgensen missed the game-tying home run. Just hit off of the wall out in left center field. She now is on second with a stand-up double. She represents the tying run, and now it's a one-run game once again. 8-7 lead now for CSI.
I thought that was out off the bat, Nick. That is 2 well-struck balls back-to-back, perhaps as well as the Saints have connected with a ball off of Kennedy Ruth all day, those last 2 swings. And now with the tying run in scoring position and nobody out, I think the Saints are likely to bunt.
I think so, Joe. They had a conference down the third base line. You have to think they're trying to go down and lay down the bunt with Becca Sawyer on deck.
And if you're the Dolphins, Nick, you have to let them get the bunt down. Do not throw a wild pitch. Keep the ball in front of you behind the plate.
Right.
Make sure they have to sacrifice an out to get that runner to third. There's the bunt. The throw goes to first in time, and the tying run now stands at third base.
A well-executed bunt off the bat of Howes right there. Perfectly placed. It moves the runner to third. And now if Becca Sawyer can get a ball into the outfield, this game will once again be tied.
Sawyer is 2 for 3. Behind her, Sophia Arnaud is 1 for 3. First pitch. Hit on the ground. Motley coming home. Not in time. Motley was just a bit too deep on the infield to make that play. They never had a chance there. As the runner is thinking about second, that will force a throw. But the Saints have tied the game. That will go down as a fielder's choice and an RBI. And Nick, I just don't think she had a play at the plate, even with a perfect throw.
She didn't, and the Dolphins were trying to see if the runner touched home plate. That was why Kennedy Ruth went back towards home and tried to step on the base. But no call there. We are tied once again, 8-8.
Arnaud the batter. Lines one. Right field. Base hit. Scooped up in right center. The throw goes to third, and it gets away. It stays in the field of play, fortunately so for the Dolphins, but now D'Youville has 2 in scoring position with just 1 out.
The concern right now is, Joe, they're making great contact. You mentioned it earlier. They have been hitting the ball as best as they have all day. Now they bring the top of the lineup up in this spot. They will bring in a pinch hitter here with 1 gone, but now for this spot here for Haley Jenkins, all she needs to do is put the ball into the outfield, and D'Youville has again the lead.
Not only are they making great contact, Nick, but it's the bottom of the order coming through with huge hits here.
Right.
Now, at any point here in this half inning, do you consider going to the bullpen if you're Tracy Garofalo? It looks like there is action now. I think that's Alexis Miramontes throwing. And the Saints are going to make some changes here. Pinch runner coming in.
Pitch runner at second. Taylor Stronzinski.
Stronzinski, the pinch runner. Go ahead run at third. 1 out here in the 7th. That pitch is in for a called strike, 0-1.
First base, of course, is open, but Dolphins hoping that they do not give up the lead. They can at least keep this game tied, give themselves a chance in the next half inning.
That pitch misses up high, 1-1. You mentioned the pinch hitter, Haley Jenkins. First at bat of the day for her, and she's now behind 1-2. Huge pitch here for Ruth. Really needs a strikeout. Saints just need a ball in play, and that is taken out of the zone.
Try to get her to chase on that one, but now not going to chase on that one was Jenkins. The miss down the outside, and now the count's even at 2.
2-2 pitch. Low ball 3.
And now Jenkins has a chance to work a walk and load the bases for Adamo, who's on deck.
Well, if you're Ruth here, you were ahead in a 2-strike count. You hate to lose the batter in this spot. That's fouled off.
She just got a piece of that one.
Battle continues.
Inside fastball, just got a piece. As you mentioned, the battle will continue.
It remains a full count. Jenkins, the pinch hitter. Ruth in the circle. The 3-2. Fouled off again.
Both of those pitches going in on the inside from Ruth. And you have to tip your hat to Jenkins. She's just gotten a piece of it to extend this at bat, as we'll do it again on 3-2.
Another 3-2. Way upstairs for ball 4.
And that's why those foul balls were critical. Jenkins fouled off a couple pitches, kept it full. She works the walk, loads the bases now for Gianna Adamo, and she'll be pitch ran at first base as Shibish is back into the game.
Nowhere to put Adamo now, as home plate is once again engulfed in dust. And
Not
for the
ideal.
Dolphins, certainly not for you with the dust cloud, but
Yes.
for the Dolphins here, a really tough spot. Ruth looks as if she's going to remain in the game. And perhaps the pitch count has finally caught up to her, Nick, because the contact that we've seen here in this half inning, unlike anything we've seen all day, and that last walk loaded the bases as that pitch, fortunately for the Dolphins, was brought in by Kanoth.
Kanoth just saved a run right there, Joe, with that snag.
No question about it. Count count now 1-1. That pitch in for a called strike.
And of course, the Dolphins on a ground ball would go straight towards home. Try to prevent that go-ahead run from scoring.
That pitch is in for a called strike 2. And Nick, once again, Ruth ahead. Can she put the hitter away?
We've seen it a couple of times. She's failed to get that strike 3. Dolphins would love to get it right here. You get the second out.
That's popped up. Chance for Warner. She's got it. 2 gone.
All-important second out. Recorded right there by Kennedy Ruth, but now she faces arguably the most dangerous hitter in this lineup in Summer Clark with 2 outs.
Clark comes to the plate, and our stats do not have her in the game, but she is the batter. So I'm going to have to come take a look here. Though it just changed. It did say on my screen that Parjic was the batter in the live stats. We know it's Clark. She's ahead 1-0. The wind swirling now as Clark takes ball 2.
Early hitters count here for Clark now, 2-0. And this, it's a spot where you talk about where you got to throw strikes and force something in play. But with how Clark has been swinging all season for the Saints, it's a dangerous spot for CSI. They need to try and make sure that Clark doesn't get a good pitch to hit.
That's ball 3. And if you're Ruth here, you're in between a rock and a hard place. You cannot walk in a run.
Yeah, now you have to throw a strike.
You have a dangerous hitter. 3-0 upcoming. Huge pitch. And that is in at the knees for a strike. 3-1.
Still another hitter. Still a hitter's count here for Clark. We'll see if she takes this one, Joe, on 3-1.
I don't think you have her take all the way on 3-1. And she does swing. That's fouled off.
Well, you couldn't have asked for any more dramatics on this one.
We've spoken about high drama all day. It does not get much higher than this. I'm 50 feet in the air. So there's that. The wind continues to whip through the CSI softball complex. The Saints have the bases loaded in a tie game. Top of the 7th inning. 3-2 pitch. Blooped. Shallow right center. Base hit. 2 runs in to score. It's a 2 RBI single for Clark. And Duyuville goes in front 10-8.
What a rally from the Saints here in this 7th inning, Joe. They now put up another 2 runs on that 2-run single. They now lead this game 10-8. And the Dolphins, once again, 1 strike away from getting out of it, and unfortunately not able to do so.
Ruth battled back from a 3-0 count. And Clark, with good 2-strike hitting, may have just propelled the Saints into the postseason. Duyuville now in front by a pair. They are 3 outs away from clinching a playoff spot and have a chance for more. That pitch taken for a strike. The count now even at 1-1. At the plate here, Gabby Moreno. Moreno is 0 for 3. And she looks at strike 2.
So once again, Ruth is a strike away, getting out of the inning. I'm sure you're laughing from the Duyuville fans.
They're into it, and rightfully so. Their team battling back, much like the Dolphins did in Buffalo. When the Dolphins trailed in the 7th inning of that game, they came from behind, took the win 13-11, and that victory is why these 2 teams are battling for a playoff spot here today. And that's hit sharply to third. Warner. Low throw, and Acosta is able to scoop it to retire the side. But not before Duyuville plates 4. They turn a 2-run deficit into a 2-run lead, and we head to the home 7th with the Dolphins trailing 10-8.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials, live music, and the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dining order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
And we are back from the CSI Softball Complex. The Dolphins are now down to their final 3 outs after they were 3 outs away from clinching a spot in the ECC playoffs. What a game this has been, Nick.
It has been a seesaw type of affair, Joe, back and forth between these two squads, earning a chance into the postseason for both teams.
First pitch in the home 7th, fouled off by Olivia Warner. The Dolphins will send 6, 7, and 8 to the plate in the home 7th. They need at least 2 to tie.
And they would love to get it back to the top of the order. If they can get some base runners, they get the top of the line and maybe a chance.
Well, if they get there, they are certainly in business. And Warner looks at strike 2. Yo 2. Down and away, 1 and 2.
Warner was the first batter Partridge faced in relief in this second game. Partridge got her the first time on a strikeout.
Here comes the 1-2. And Warner bloops one on the infield, caught at third, 1 away in the 7th.
Kind of got her jammed on that pitch right there. Warner retired. Two more outs now for the Saints, and they're into the postseason as that brings up Bridget Motley.
Motley 2 for 3 in this game. And we mentioned it earlier, Nick. The bottom of this Dolphins lineup has done damage today. Motley 2 for 3. Kanoth 1 for 2. Acosta 1 for 3. Dolphins just need a base runner here to bring the tying run to the plate as Motley takes inside for ball 1.
Deauville fans still.
They're a rowdy bunch, huh?
They are vocal.
Without the baseball team there to drown them out, you can hear everything.
Yep.
1-0. In for a strike, 1-1.
Made the long trip here to Staten Island for the biggest 2 games of both of these teams' season, with the postseason berth on the line.
On the field, Saints have turned what could have been a miserable ride home into one filled with elation. They're 2 outs away as that's hit into center field, base hit. And the Dolphins will bring the tying run to the plate.
And that was a good job right there from Motley on that one, Joe. Off-speed pitch, timed it perfectly, and got a soft liner into center field for that 1-out base hit. And as you mentioned, it brings the tying run to the plate.
Natalia Kanoth will be the batter. As I just mentioned, Kanoth 1 for 2. One big swing could tie the score. The Dolphins just hope to keep this inning going. Motley the runner at first. And Kanoth takes low, ball 1.
You mentioned it. If CSI can get back to the top of the lineup, they're certainly in business. They are 2 batters away from doing so.
Here comes the 1-0. And that's hit sharply on the ground. Base hit into center field. Joe Foreman back with you from the CSI Softball Complex, where our faulty internet connection strikes at perhaps the worst possible time. The Dolphins did load the bases in the home 7th inning. The Wi-Fi connection completely dropped. We tried to scramble and get it back. I sprinted down the hill to the softball complex We could not get back online in time for the conclusion of this game. However, it is the D'Youville University Saints that will be moving on to the East Coast Conference playoffs. They defeat the Dolphins by a final score of 10-8. When we lost you on the stream, I believe the Dolphins had loaded the bases with Anissa Acosta coming to the plate. The final 2 outs of the game came from there. Acosta popped up on the infield for an infield fly, and Mariah Carcano struck out to end the game as the Dolphins will come short of the postseason on the final day of the regular season for the second straight year. That being said, it was perhaps one of the best games we have covered since the Dolphins have moved to NCAA Division II. And for 3 Dolphin seniors, it was the final time they will take the field here at home. Mariah Carcano, Anissa Acosta, and Alexis Miramontes all taking the field here at the CSI Softball Complex for the final time. Obviously, it is a very tough moment for those seniors who are playing in their final home game, but none of that trio has anything to be ashamed of, and neither do any of the Dolphins following what was a valiant effort on the final day of the year. They knew what they needed to do. They had to win both games today, and they took Game 1 just as they did last season against Mercy. They fall just short in Game 2 against the Saints here in 2025, but once again, a tremendous effort from the Dolphins today, and it was a Saints rally in the 7th inning that made the difference. D'Youville came from behind, much like the Dolphins did in Game 2 in Buffalo. The Dolphins stealing a win in the 7th inning of that game, and because of that victory earlier this year, this doubleheader today meant so much to both of these teams. It came down to the final game of the season, and congratulations to D'Youville University. They move on to the playoffs. Sarah Parjic came on in relief after pitching Game 1. She went the distance, earned the win here in Game 2. And after what was a really tough inning for her, shortly after coming out of the bullpen, she was able to rebound and keep the Dolphins off the board the rest of the way. Kennedy Ruth also pitched in Game 1, went the distance, came on in relief in Game 2. Ruth pitched all the way into the end, worked through some massive jams late in this game, and unfortunately did not get enough outs before D'Youville was able to take the lead. She came to within 1 strike of stranding the bases loaded in a tie game, but for Ruth, she comes up just short, ultimately is tagged with the loss in this game. And for the Dolphins, their season ends here at home with a loss to D'Youville by a final score of 10-8. For me, Joe Foreman, this may very well be my final broadcast of the season. However, if you are a fan of D'Youville, you may hear from me again later in the week as I will be over at the East Coast Conference Softball Championship. Whether or not I will have a headset on remains to be seen, but at the very least, I will be there engineering that stream. My broadcast partner today, Nicholas Pavona, is standing directly to my right. He may also be joining me at the Softball Championship later in the week. That remains to be seen. Details on the broadcast crews for those games are going to be sorted out tomorrow. But until then, once again, this has been Joe Foreman alongside Nicholas Pavona on the call. The D'Youville University Saints are headed to the postseason as they defeat the Dolphins in Game 2 by a final score of 10-8.